What if the only way to become the strongest knight in the world was to die? Not once, not twice, not even 100 times. What if every time you died, sword through your neck, spear through your gut, trampled into the mud, you woke up on the morning of that same day, and the only thing you carried from your last life was the muscle memory of how you died? No system, no cheat skills, no magical awakening that solves everything, just death, and the fading echo of a sword swing you got slightly better at before someone cut you down. This is the story of Enkrid, a 30-year-old soldier with zero talent who leads a squad of absolute lunatics, and who was cursed with the cruelest gift imaginable, the ability to die forever. This is Eternally Regressing Knight, and the Manhwa community is calling it peak fiction for one very simple reason. This protagonist earns every ounce of his power through suffering. Let's be clear on who Enkrid is, because he's not some fresh-faced kid with hidden potential. He's not a teenager who just needs the right moment to awaken. Enkrid is 30 years old. He's been swinging a sword his entire adult life, and he is, by every objective measure, mediocre. Not bad, not hopeless, just average. The kind of average that in a world of knights who channel aura through their blades and cut through steel means you're essentially useless. His official title is the 444th Squad Leader Corporal, 4th Company, 4th Platoon, 4th Squad of the Cyprus Division in the Kingdom of Naulilia. If that sounds impressive, let me explain what the 444 Squad actually is. It's the Misfit Squad, the Troublemaker Unit, the group of absolute lunatics that nobody else wants to deal with. Every previous squad leader either quit, got transferred, or got chased out by the squad members themselves. And here's the thing that makes it even more ridiculous. The soldiers in Enkrid's squad, they're actually skilled. Individually, they are monsters. Each one of them has mastered a unique martial art or combat technique that makes them genuinely dangerous fighters, but they're also completely unmanageable. They fight each other constantly, they ignore orders, and they cause chaos wherever they go. Enkrid somehow holds them together, not through strength, they're all better fighters than he is, not through authority, they don't respect rank, through something else, something that even his squad members can't fully explain. There's an ongoing joke in the story. The other soldiers in the Cyprus division say that Enkrid must be sleeping with the goddess of fortune every night, because there's no other explanation for how this talentless man keeps surviving situations that should kill him. But it's not fortune, it's something much worse. When Enkrid was a kid, a retired mercenary passed through his village. Nothing special, just an old sword for hire looking for a place to rest. But Enkrid was fascinated by him, this weathered, scarred old man who carried a blade and had stories from a dozen battlefields. Enkrid begged the mercenary to teach him something, anything, about swordsmanship. The mercenary obliged. He taught young Enkrid the basics, stance, grip, footwork, nothing advanced, just the fundamentals. And then he said something that would define the rest of Enkrid's life. You're a genius. Those words were poison, because Enkrid wasn't a genius. The mercenary was just being kind to a starry-eyed kid. But those words lodged themselves in Enkrid's brain and never left. They became a dream, the dream of becoming a knight, a real knight, someone who could channel aura and perform superhuman feats of combat. So Enkrid left his village. He became a mercenary himself. He trained, he swung his sword until his hands bled. He slept less, ran more, and pushed harder than anyone around him. And he hit a wall. Not a metaphorical wall, a real, measurable limit that no amount of effort could break through. His body, his muscles, his reflexes, his capacity for learning martial arts was fundamentally inadequate. He lost a sparring match to a 12-year-old prodigy, a child, and it wasn't even close. Other soldiers mocked him. You want to live by the sword with that level of skill? Some laughed, just give up, others advised. But Enkrid didn't give up. He pushed forward, climbed as high as a talentless man could climb, and ended up as the squad leader of the worst unit in the Cyprus division. The dream of knighthood? Still alive, just buried deep. So deep that most people assumed he'd accepted reality. He hadn't. He was just waiting for something to change. the change comes on a battlefield. Now Lilia is at war with the Kingdom of Aspen, and the Cyprus Division is deployed. It's a real battle. Thousands of soldiers, mud and blood and chaos, and Enkrid's 444 squad is right in the middle of it. Enkrid fights. He fights the only way he knows how, with limited skill but absolute determination. He swings his standard issue sword with everything he has, and then an enemy soldier appears. Someone using an unusual stabbing technique that Enkrid has never seen before. The thrust is clean, precise, and impossibly fast, and the blade goes through Enkrid's neck. He's dead before he hits the ground. And then he wakes up. Same bed, same morning, same sunlight through the barracks window, same sound of his squad members arguing and causing their usual chaos. Enkrid sits up, gasping, hands flying to his neck, expecting a wound that isn't there. It's gone. The blade, the blood, the death, all of it, like it never happened. But the memory is perfect. Every detail. The angle of the thrust, the speed of the blade, the exact instant his body failed him. He doesn't understand what's happening. He thinks it was a dream. He tells himself to calm down. He goes back to the battlefield, and that same enemy soldier kills him again with that same unusual thrust. He wakes up, same morning. He dies again, and again, and again. What Enkrid has been given is a curse, literally. A mysterious amulet has bound itself to him, granting, or inflicting, the ability to regress to the morning of the day he dies. Every time he's killed, the day resets. He wakes up at the same point, with the same body, the same injuries he had before the loop started. His muscles don't grow between loops. His physical condition doesn't improve. His stamina doesn't increase. But his memories remain. His muscle memory remains. And the instincts he develops through combat, the reflexes trained by dying dozens, hundreds of times to the same attacks, those stay too. There's a catch. Every time Enkrid dies and the loop resets, a figure appears, the ferryman of the Black River, a spectral being who watches Enkrid with amusement and mild contempt. The ferryman's message is simple: give up. Everyone else who received this curse eventually did. They experienced so much death, so much pain, so much repetition that they lost the will to live. They accepted death and they stopped fighting. That's what the curse is designed to do. Not to make someone stronger, to break them. And Enkrid's response to the ferryman every single time? He gets back up. In Enkrid's mind, the enemies who kill him aren't just opponents. They are walls. Obstacles between him and the knight he wants to become. The first wall is the enemy soldier with the unusual stabbing technique, the one who killed him on that first battlefield. Enkrid dies to this man dozens of times. Each loop he studies the thrust, the angle, the timing, the footwork that precedes it. He can't learn it from a manual. He doesn't have access to training resources. He learns it the only way available to him, by dying to it over and over until his body instinctively understands the exact mechanics of the attack. But here's what makes Eternally Regressing Knight different from every other regression story. Enkrid doesn't learn alone. His squad, those talented dysfunctional misfits, are actually experts in their own combat styles, and they've been holding back. Not out of cruelty, but because Enkrid couldn't learn fast enough from them. His talentless body couldn't absorb their techniques, no matter how many times they demonstrated. But now, with infinite repetition, with the ability to die and come back and practice the same technique 100 times in a row, his squad members become his teachers. One of them teaches him the heart of the beast, a technique for cultivating a calm, unshakable mind in the face of lethal danger. Another teaches him specialized joint locks and grappling. Another shares footwork that Enkrid adapts into his own unique sword technique. Each squad member watches this talentless man take their teachings and slowly, painfully, incrementally, through a process that involves dying more times than any of them can imagine, incorporate them into his fighting style. They start calling their unit the Madmen Squad. Not because they are crazy, though they are, but because their squad leader is the maddest one of all. A man who walks into battles he knows he'll lose, dies, wakes up and walks right back in with a slightly better sword swing. And eventually, after deaths that number in the hundreds for a single wall, Enkrid gets past his first wall. He defeats the enemy with the stabbing technique, not with overwhelming power, not with a flashy special move, with precision born from watching the same attack kill him so many times that his body learned to counter it through pure repetition. The other soldiers see the aftermath. They see Enkrid standing over a skilled enemy who should have killed him, breathing hard, covered in mud and blood, and they see his face, that expression he gets when he overcomes a wall, the one his squad members know all too well, a maniacal smile, the grin of a man who just conquered something that should have been impossible, the look that makes even his own soldiers think this guy is completely insane. Here's what most regression stories won't show you: the cost. Hundreds of deaths don't just sharpen your reflexes, they change you. The Enkrid who walked onto the first battlefield was a man with a dream, however unrealistic, a man who connected with people, who cared about the normal rhythms of life. The Enkrid who emerges after hundreds of loops is something different. Not broken, not in the way the ferryman hopes, but altered. The weight of endless death sits behind his eyes. He moves differently, speaks less. His squad members, the people who know him best, notice the change. He's more focused, more efficient, less interested in anything that doesn't involve getting stronger. His quotes tell the story better than I can. If you fought with everything you had on the line and survived, that battle will become your greatest asset. And the more telling, if I had lived by other people's standards, I would have given up on everything long ago. The series asks this question constantly, without ever answering it definitively. Is what Enkrid is doing courage, or is it a different kind of madness? The kind that looks like determination from the outside, but is actually something far more desperate. Because Enkrid doesn't know how to stop. Every wall he overcomes reveals another wall behind it, a stronger enemy, a more dangerous situation, a fight that requires even more deaths to learn. The regression doesn't have an off switch. As long as Enkrid encounters enemies who can kill him, and he always will, the loop continues. The only way out is forward, through every wall, through every death, until he becomes the knight he's always dreamed of being, or until the curse finally breaks him, the way it broke everyone else. And then there's the moment that makes the entire series worth every page of suffering. After walls that have cost him hundreds of lives, after training with his squad through countless loops, after pushing his talentless body beyond every conceivable limit through sheer force of repetition, Enkrid reaches a level that no one believed he could reach. Not his squad, not the Cyprus division, not the ferryman. He doesn't just survive battle, he dominates them. Not with aura, he still barely has any. Not with flashy techniques. His style is a patchwork of skills learned from a dozen different teachers through 1,000 deaths. He wins with something harder to defy. The other soldiers in the division call it luck. His squad members, who've watched him train and die and come back and train again, call it something else. They call it insanity, and they mean it as the highest compliment. Because to watch Enkrid fight is to watch a man who has already seen every possible way a battle can go wrong, who has died to every angle of attack, who has failed at every technique, and who walks into combat with the accumulated knowledge of all those failures compressed into reflexes so sharp that they look supernatural. Other soldiers see the results and think he's blessed by fortune. His squad knows the truth. They know exactly how many times their captain had to die to earn every single one of those reflexes, and that makes them follow him anywhere. This is why the entire Manhwa community is calling Eternally Regressing Knight peak fiction. It takes the regression trope and strips away every comfort. No system window, no cheat code, no kindly mentor who hands him ultimate power, no sudden awakening that skips the work, just a talentless 30-year-old soldier, a curse that makes him die forever, and a squad of lunatics who believe in him, and the sheer insanity to keep going when every rational person would stop. The question isn't whether Enkrid will get stronger. You've already seen that he does. The real question is, how many more walls stand between him and the knighthood he's chased his entire life? And what does the ferryman of the Black River do when he realizes that this curse, the one designed to break people, has created something it was never supposed to? A monster, the kind you root for. If you want to see Enkrid face his most dangerous wall yet, the fight that Reddit is calling one of the greatest duels in Manhwa history, subscribe right now, because part 2 is coming. How many times would you willingly die to become the strongest? Let me know in the comments.